All right, Daniel. So we're here to
Well,
talk
drop
about
top minivan. What the fuck?
we're here
What
to
are we
talk
talking
about
about?
a
Oh, I'm
knockoff
sorry. Who are you?
movie, right?
Now is this a
You're
knockoff or
trapped
a
in my
ripoff?
podcast. So I think
Oh, I'm trapped in your
when
pocket.
when we talk about
Help me! I'm in your pocket. Help me, please. I'm just a little guy. I'm stuck in your pocket. Help me! Let me out of here.
when we talk about this, there's
Let
different
me out of here.
kinds of knockoff movies, right? You've got
There's
your
at least
Friday the
one, at
13th.
least two, right?
You've
Knockoff of
got your
Halloween.
it's a knockoff of Halloween. The director has said like I just wanted to make a Halloween
I mean,
movie, but I
directly, yeah.
couldn't.
He was like, yeah, they wouldn't let me, so I made my own, and
You've got
that
Rebel
spawned its
Moon.
own, thing, right? Rebel Moon is a knockoff of Star
Right?
Wars,
Because
and
the
it's its
same
own
idea,
thing.
right?
Zack Snyder wanted a Star Wars movie. They said, "Fuck you." He said, "Okay, I'll do it my own way,"
And
and
those
he
are
did
sort
it,
of.
and it was maybe good. I
I
don't know.
don't
I
think it
didn't
was
watch
very good.
it.
I haven't seen it, but
I didn't see it. I don't know.
but
My
that's
doctor.
that's a kind of knockoff that's kind of few and far between. This sort of like
Right.
I want to
This
make
this
this movie.
Yeah, a knockoff where it's genuine respect for what they're knocking off. They just didn't have the rights, so they did it their own way.
Versus what we
Right.
normally
Then
see, which is like the
there's the common,
asylum,
your
Transmorphers.
right, your Sharknadoes, your Transmorphers, your whatever. Any modern scary movie type garbage is
Right.
going to be that just parodies can make a your hungover games, your hungry games, your
Right.
whatever,
Which is they're making a movie.
your Stan Helsings, you
They're
know.
making a movie, so I'm gonna take and make a script in 10 minutes, and then I'm
Right.
gonna drop it in
On
Redbox.
Tubi.
I'm
This
gonna put
episode made
but,
possible by
but yeah, I
Tubi.
guess the modern equivalent of Redbox would be Tubi.
Right, shout out
Um,
Tubi.
I remember
They'll get back
I
to
remember
us.
one time. This is true. This is a true story. I
Okay.
wanted to watch Transformers because we
Sure,
missed the
as you do.
theatrical release of Transformers. I was like 8 or 9, and my dad
Right,
rented
one of those ages.
Transmorphers from the Redbox.
Ah, I've
And
never seen that. We should do just a straight like garbage parody sweep.
Asylum
Where we
Sweep type
watch
beat.
Asylum, yeah. That'd be something.
Well, we started as a family. My mom went to clean the kitchen, and my dad got up and left, and my sister fell asleep. So I was left
Right,
sitting
right.
alone watching
Watching
Transmorphers.
Transmorphers, thinking that this is the Transformers movie. All your
All
friends
my
on the
friends were
schoolyard have
talking
been
about and
talking
had
about.
toys,
Like,
and I
oh
was
my
like,
god,
"This,
it's so good, it's so awesome. You're like, what the fuck is this?
what is
What the
happening?"
shit am I watching? Yeah,
But
and
that's
about the feeling. That's about the feeling you get if you watch Transformers now as an adult.
and that's
You
also
feel like
about
you're
the
watching
feeling you get when
Transmorphers.
you watch Reptilian.
Reptar or
Reptilian,
Reptilian 2001, which came out in
1998.
1991, but it's called Reptile 2001,
It's
and
called
also Reptilian,
Yonggary,
and also
1999.
Yonggary. Yeah,
That's what
this
we're talking about
movie's
today.
a fucking mess.
Yeah. Yeah, so Yonggary 1999. Apparently,
Right,
so
not to be confused with Old Gary 1998.
or
Completely
1967.
unrelated. Right, no, the actual, yeah. So
We'll get
we'll
there.
explain.
So this
No, I
is
feel like
this
we
is
should
interesting.
get that
The
out of the
American
way.
release of this movie, which is what we watched, which is the only one in existence.
Which is called Reptilian, but we're going to call it Reptar.
Right, it's called Reptilian,
'Cause that's the
also known as
Rugrats
Reptar.
Godzilla.
Is the only surviving version of this movie.
Right.
Not really. It
But-
was released in 2001.
Okay, so this movie
This movie is
it was
wild.
made in South Korea by a South Korean director as a remake, but we'll get to that.
Using
Originally-
exclusively American and or
yeah,
British
American
actors.
or English actors, other than like various extras. But yeah, so it was released as in South Korea. It was called Yonggary.
Correct.
Um,
Yonggary was released on July 17th, 1999. It opened at the Korean Culture Center in Seoul. The first time a film premiered in the center, and sold.
Also, it was maybe called Reptile 2001, despite coming out in 99.
No, the American release.
Well, the American release is called Reptilian, also
I
Reptile.
wonder if Yonggary is Korean for reptile.
Maybe.
Kind of like how
I don't know.
Godzilla is,
It just
or
means like-
kaiju
like,
is
kaiju
Japanese
is like
for monster.
Yeah.
Um,
Could be, yeah. Either way, there are a bunch of. I'm basing
this
just
was
off of
the
IMDb
the
things we
most
saw.
expensive South Korean film produced at the time of its release, and also released in the highest number of theaters of any movie in South Korea at the time, which is crazy. And then it was later re-released on January 20th, 2001 with updated special effects and an altered plot. It was released as Yonggary 2001 Upgrade Edition.
Right. Maybe that's the one that's also Reptile 2001.
Probably.
'Cause
However,
that's what the
the
IMDb page was called. But
the
then
re-release
the one
was
we
a critical
watched
and
on
commercial
Tubi-
flop, which it doesn't make any sense.
This episode made possible by Tubi. We watched
Yes.
this on Tubi.
Episode made possible by Tubi, who still hasn't gotten back to my emails. Tubi, if
They
you're
will,
watching
though.
this,
They're a very popular service. They'll get back
right?
to you.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway,
Tubi.
so
If you're watching this, give me a call.
The version
Call
we
me.
watched is called Reptilian. It was on Tubi. Originally, this was called Yonggary, and also maybe Reptile 2001 when released, or Yonggary 2001, which maybe just
Right.
means Reptile, when released in South Korea, then re-released 2 years later in South Korea with updated special effects.
Right.
Which is, I guess, the only version that exists.
That exists
or
now.
The American.
It was made for
version of that
$13.5
re-release.
million, which is pretty low budget.
That much. I mean, kind of, but for the late 90s and for what we saw, that's. I feel like Blade had a lower budget than that.
I don't remember looking at Blade's budget. Let's see.
I don't.
Blade
but
was
I
made
feel
for
like-
$45 million by comparison.
Okay. Yeah.
Same
that's-
year.
Right.
Same year. This came out the same year as Blade.
This is the same year as Blade.
So we
yeah,
got-
honestly, it feels like it came out the same
Yeah.
year as Blade.
I had a completely different idea for this movie before reading about the behind the scenes and what happened, whatever.
Right.
This movie very, very much
But
feels
so
like a
let's-
love letter to
Yes.
the original run of Godzilla movies.
Absolutely,
Godzilla,
and
or I'm
we'll-
sorry, Reptar fights another monster, or
Reptilian.
Yonggary.
Yonggary / Reptilian attacks the city, but then also attacks another monster to defend the city. Classic Godzilla, classic Gojira. But this movie is a remake of a 1965, 67 movie called Yonggary, which is the name of the monster in this. Which is, I guess, was a South Korean rip-off.
It was just
of
a South
Godzilla.
Korean like kaiju movie.
South Korean
'Cause
kaiju monster
Godzilla was
that's-
the first kaiju, but also like there were a bunch of
Maybe.
them.
Yeah, I don't know, but
They made
Well,
lots of these kaiju movies
it was
in the
South
60s,
Korean
70s type
Godzilla.
beat.
or one of South Korea's Godzillas. Maybe there were others. I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know
yeah.
South Korean filmmaking lore. I don't know North Korean filmmaking lore. It's not my. I didn't go to school for that.
Right. I didn't go to school
but-
for filmmaking lore at all.
I didn't go to school actually.
Right. I can't read.
Yeah.
But this movie, golly.
So
The original Yonggary is about a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur that drinks gasoline. That's
Gasoline,
where it gets
yes.
its power from.
Right. Does he drink gasoline
was-
in this movie? Probably.
No, I don't think so. I think he just gets teleported around by aliens.
Right. Aliens. We got to talk about aliens.
Yeah. So this movie is
It's about aliens.
It's about aliens. This is a
This
who's
is
the
a
guy that
movie.
made Godzilla 98?
It's
and
like
also,
hungry
Independence Day?
man, hungry. What's his name?
His name? His name fucking it's something stupid.
Shim Hungary.
No, the guy that made fucking Godzilla 98 and
Matthew Broderick.
No, and Independence Day, the director.
Oh,
Fucking
Vince
what's his
Gilligan.
Gilligan's Island, yes. No, what's his name? Fucking Roland Emmerich. God damn.
Roland.
This is a Roland Emmerich fan film,
Kind
in that
of.
it feels like Godzilla '98, which I haven't seen, but it's American Godzilla, and also Independence Day because there's aliens.
The only thing that makes this feel like Godzilla '98 to me
Is
is
bad
is the
CGI
is it
and
is it's that it's CGI,
and well, attacking American City also,
right?
kind
Which,
of.
but also it doesn't look like an American city.
Right.
In fact,
'Cause
there
it
was at one
wasn't.
point the moment where I realized this wasn't American produced, because I assumed it was just super low budget, but it's not. It's not American produced. There's a sign in the city that's supposed to be Los
Yeah.
Angeles. We later found out.
Right, which I assumed it was meant to be New York, but
That's
I
literally
digress.
like an Asian sign. Like it's like a
Mhm.
Korean. It's like a Korean business logo on this street.
Nah, that
they
was
found
that
on.
was the infamous Little
Oh,
Korea in downtown LA.
Little
Li-
Korea.
they
How
got
could I
Little
forget?
China, they got Little Italy, they got Little Korea down in downtown
He's
LA.
my favorite
Come
rapper,
on.
Lil Korea.
Right. He's Kendrick Lamar's nephew, I think.
So yeah, God, where do you even start? I guess we just do the plot.
Yeah, we'll talk about the plot. So what's the plot of this? I think it's your turn.
Is it my turn?
I think
Oh
so.
no.
Uh, what happens in this movie?
Let
There's
me hold on. Give me a second to pull up
got
the.
give me a second to just refresh my memory.
Yeah, give me a second to
I
rewatch this movie real quick. Give me just
It
a
starts
moment.
with
It starts
one
in
thing. I don't
in the
know
desert.
why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. To design this
How do you
rhyme to
even
explain
find
it through
plot
time.
summary?
All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it count down as the pendulum
Cool.
swing.
Cool. There is no
Takes
plot
life
summary
away.
for this. We'll just do this from. We'll do it. We
I
got it. We
think
got
I
it. From memory.
remember it. So
No, I got
there's
it.
they're digging
I got
for
it. No, I got it.
dinosaurs. They're
There-
digging for dinosaurs.
Well, it opens with a man in bed
Does it?
with a woman. A very
I don't think that's how it opens. I think that's maybe when you start.
well. It opens in the cave.
That was lit.
Right. There's the cave
yeah,
thing,
there's
but
the
that's not really
cave,
important.
And well, it kind of is like sets up the movie.
It
maybe.
sets up there's a
There-
cave
there-
and there's an old
that's
man
them
who's
looking for
lost.
di-
You know what I'm saying?
That was when old man got lost, but really faked his death. Or it was Harrison Ford
Harrison Ford
and
was
also
there.
Chuck McGill.
We'll get
Chuck
there.
McGill.
Chuck McGillis and Ford.
I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I know he switched those numbers.
I'm gonna
I knew
kick
it was-
over a
I knew it was
candle.
I knew it was 1216. One after Magna Carta. Like I could ever make such a mistake. Never. Never.
I'm gonna kick over a candle
I'm gonna light myself on fire by kicking over a candle.
in the most
lighting my
ineffective
house
way
on fire and
possible.
burning myself.
Anyway,
It was effective.
it
He
was,
died.
I
He
guess,
burned
for
himself
him,
to
yeah.
death.
Anyway, so after the
I
opening
digress.
scene in a cave, which is just kind of like generic
Mm-hmm.
setup type thing, we jump to a man
Well, it
in
shows-
bed.
No,
We
it
jump to
shows
Pierce Brosnan,
It shows
the architect.
It shows dinosaur bones in that scene.
Right. Oh,
And
you're
they
right.
hit
And
the-
the Egyptian
they hit the-
hieroglyphics.
The Egyptian, yeah, that's them waking up the monster. I think.
I think
'Cause
it's
that-
them
that was-
alerting the aliens.
Right. Either which were kind of the same thing because before this is 2 years before the main plot of the story. They're
Is
in a
it?
cave.
I
Yeah,
missed that.
they said that to the Chuck McHarrison Ford Harrison Young
Chuck McGilligan's Island for it.
McGilligan's Island had been lost for 2 years, so they
McGillig
they
Fordigan.
they took a hatchet and they hit this glowing thing on the wall in the cave and
Indiana
it exploded.
Chuck.
Indiana Chuck. They all exploded except for Indiana Chuck. And the one guy who was like some lackey at this point, but then in 2 years he's like the lead scientist of the operation. He's the one that goes, "This can't be real. That's not really happening. That's fake. It's fake news," or whatever he says.
Something like that.
It's something. But then then there's Buster Bluth Brosnan is laying in bed with some fat chick, and he's like,
Because he's the
"Oh,
architect.
he's the architect."
But it's not
right?
it's not the same Buster Bluth from later in the movie.
No, it is.
Is it? No, because the one later was
Yeah.
like a nerd, and this guy was supposed to be like a cool guy.
No, it was the same guy. I mean, it was a different guy that looked like Buster Bluth with male pattern baldness. I mean,
There are lots of those.
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be the same guy. It was just that it didn't show that. Like, it showed that guy right after the opening, and then didn't show him again until like the third
Maybe,
act.
but I feel like if you're gonna set up this character, you either have to pick he's a suave
Well,
ladies man
I think he
architecting
was.
women,
The thing is, I think that
or
the stuff we were making fun of him for being a nerd was supposed to be like cool James Bond stuff. Like, he's like, oh, I'm this declassified fifth level high agency whatever shit.
then why
Like,
would
that's
he be
supposed to be
alerting a
cool.
newspaper man, like a
He
sleazy
wasn't.
photojournalist?
Was that what he was doing?
Yeah, he called the sleazy photojournalist. He was like, "Hey, do I
Oh
got a
well,
story for you?"
because at the end he was kind of like evil, like he was controlling, he was doing something to control Godzilla, Yonggary guy monster thing. There was something with the thing.
Either
They
way,
were like,
if it's the
I
same
don't
guy,
know.
if it's
I
the
think
same
it's the same.
guy,
I
it's a
think it's the
horrible
same
way
guy.
to accomplish that.
I
Because
guess. I
because how do
mean,
you make how do you put a suave ladies man in the beginning of the movie and then later he's wearing a buttoned up cardigan over a tie?
I think he was supposed to be the
Or is
same guy,
that
and
what cool is in South Korea?
I think that was supposed to be like cool, like James Bond type
James Bond
character.
doesn't wear Mr. Rogers style cardigans.
Sure, but British looking guy. They weren't. It's South Korea,
And
man.
he's
Like,
balding. Why wouldn't you cast a man with like Pierce Brosnan hair?
you know,
Also, when I said
he's
Pierce
the
Brosnan, I
architect.
didn't mean like suave
No, he
spy. I
doesn't.
meant the
No,
architect.
he had a fat lady in bed
Right.
with him. Yeah, Pierce Brosnan likes fat ladies. He likes making ladies fat.
So anyway,
But anyways, let's
back
talk
to the
about this
plot.
movie. They're digging up dinosaur bones. This is in the present day, not 2 years
They're
ago. They're digging up
gooning.
dinosaur bones. I wouldn't say that, but some of them, I can't
The
speak for all of them.
dinosaur is gooning.
Again, not
Well,
necessarily.
that's
It's
what
kind of
happened
just,
as he
well,
died,
it's a
and then
dead,
he got
it's
like frozen
it's a
in the
dinosaur
bones.
bones. They said it was like 5 times the size of a T-Rex or some
Right, which
shit.
doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
No, but who cares? And then
But the
they
dinosaur
also
is
they also
gooning.
maybe imply that the gooning dinosaur is alien
I don't think
because
they imply that.
I think
I
they
think
did.
crazy. I think at this point,
I think
crazy scientist Harrison Ford thinks that it's alien, and everybody thinks he's crazy for it.
right, but then I think at some point they were like, oh yeah, it is these fossil records. They date back to 200 million years ago, and they're not of earthly whatever. They said some shit like that.
I didn't
And
catch that at
this
all.
is admittedly this is later in the movie. They're not implying that yet, but
This
there
is
was a lot of
admittedly
this.
reptilian.
This is Reptilian, and there was a lot of this movie that's just talking, and sometimes peppered into that talking is exposition that we missed over because we were just talking over the bullshit talking,
This
making fun of
movie
this
is
movie.
talking, and then peppered in occasionally is more talking.
Is more talking, and sometimes salted into the pepper
Is gooning.
is gooning, which is horrible CGI Scrappy Doo Godzilla monster.
We'll get there.
We'll get to
We'll
Scrappy
get
Doo.
there.
So
Because the first half of this movie is kind of a struggle to get through.
yeah, well, it's a
Um,
struggle, but it's a bad movie struggle. So it's like, yes, it's a struggle, but also it's just funny to laugh at. And
yeah, but I still feel like there's not as much to laugh at in the first half.
I guess
There's
I
some
think
really bad dialogue.
the bad acting
Yeah,
and bad dialogue make it what it is, which is a funny bad movie. Without that, it
right.
would just be a bad
But it's
Toho
not.
Godzilla movie.
It's bad, but it's not like it's not The Room bad. It's not.
Well, no, sure.
It's not even like Sharknado bad.
Right. It's a
It's
different kind of
it's
bad,
definitely
but
different. Part of the fun of this
it's
movie from its
it's foreign. It's
badness. Right.
foreign made American movie made. You know
Yeah.
the words I'm trying
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
They're out there. I
I
said them all, just not in the right order.
I said something while we were watching this movie where I said it kind of feels like we're at home because all of the dialogue feels like the dubbed dialogue from the Godzilla movies we've been
Right.
watching.
Yes.
So that was fun. But I don't know. The
Yeah. Well,
first half I didn't
I
love.
remember. I remember you read something when we were trying to figure this movie out on IMDb that all or most of the main actors of this movie were cast
Yeah.
just on how they looked,
Just
not if
not
they.
even how they looked.
What was it?
There was an English ad put out in the newspapers
Right.
that basically said like, "Hey, actors wanted," and they were cast not based on how well they could act, but whether or
Oh,
not their
based on their
schedule
schedule. Yeah,
worked
that's what
out
it
to
was.
be in the movie.
Yeah. Which is,
Which
yeah, I
is
mean, it
awesome.
truly shows. It's great.
Nothing has ever shown more. Maybe
Maybe.
it has.
I don't know. I'm no doctor.
I'm not
But I might be
What's his
also.
name? Hungry. What's the director's last name?
Shin Hyung Ryu or something? Ryo? I don't
It's
know.
I think it's Hungry.
Korean.
Shin
Hungry. I feel like it was.
Hungry.
I don't know. It was Shin Hyung
Hyung
Ray or
Ray.
Ray
I'm
Hyung.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
Shim Hungry.
Right. He's
Because he's
Hungarian.
starving.
He's hung. He's hung like a horse.
Really.
And he hangs dong in the movie.
The tagline of this movie was "Bigger, Badder, Meaner," which doesn't make any sense.
Kind of.
I don't think he's any of
But
those
not
things.
really.
But Harrison Ford is in this movie, and
Harrison
he's
Ford is in this movie.
older.
It's current Harrison Ford in the 90s.
Right.
Um,
And or Harrison Ford's older brother. Older
right.
Korean
And or
brother?
father. Probably not. Older British brother.
Harrison.
Maybe,
That
though.
is Harrison Young,
That is
by
Harrison
the way,
Young. That's, yeah.
which is awesome.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Oh my. I knew I recognized that guy. He's the old Matt Damon from Saving Private Ryan.
From the meme. From that meme where he gets old really quickly.
Yeah.
I know that one.
That's
That's crazy.
That's old Harrison
the
Ford
guy.
from
That's
this
the guy
movie.
from that old meme. That's crazy. Yeah, I always thought that guy kind of looked like Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he was in a Green Arrow fan film.
Really
It was
good for him.
in 2004.
They were doing fan films.
There
in
was a
2004. Who
4-minute
knew?
Green Arrow fan film that came out in 2004, starring Harrison Ford /
Harrison Young / Matt Damon
the old
/
guy,
Fat Damon.
the old guy,
Fat Damon from Breaking Bad. Meth Damon.
right?
Todd.
Right.
He got fat in
Around
El
this
Camino.
time, he was in this movie, of course. He was in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch the same year.
Sure.
He's been in nothing much else of note. He was in 2
makes
episodes of
sense.
Beverly Hills 90210 where he played Grandpa. Of course,
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan a year before.
Saving Private Brian.
He
Yeah.
played old Ryan.
Right.
He has an uncredited role in Taxi Driver.
Oh, nice.
Do you remember him now?
Yeah, no, I remember him. He was that guy.
He was not in that Taxi Driver.
This is a different Taxi Driver.
There's a different
the
Taxi
classic
Driver.
Martin Scorsese film.
There's an Indian produced Taxi Driver movie.
Interesting.
That's fascinating. We got to get off of this. This is not
All
the
right,
point.
so they're digging for dinosaur bones. They find a big dinosaur 5 times as big as T-Rex. And then there are aliens, and then there's Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, who's trying to report on big dinosaur bones, and then the aliens zap the dinosaur bones, and also it electrocutes a bunch of people, and also it makes the teeth of the dinosaur bones shoot out and kill someone, and then go into his dinosaur dragon Scrappy Doo mouth, and then he grows his bones back, and then
Right, the bones shoot out of his body.
well, they shoot out of the ground and then go into his body.
Right.
'Cause I guess they were like buried separate. I don't know.
Something like that.
At some point, that there's more whatever stuff happening, and then he gets zapped one final time by the aliens and grows into CGI horrible Scrappy Doo monster and just starts attacking and stepping on people and just generally fucking shit up.
Yeah. Well, once his skin grows back.
Yeah, he did the thing. I predicted it, but it did it less cooler because it's not as cool as me.
Right. Well,
Them
once
South
his
Koreans
skin
no
grows
cool as
back,
me.
I think
He grows his muscles in his skin, and then he wakes up, and then he's just ugly CGI, and he's stomping on shit, and then he gets teleported away by aliens, and then later he gets teleported back.
And I think that's the point in the movie where it really begins to pick up for me.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing gets about 10 times better after that moment.
This is really when it becomes a Godzilla movie, a
Right.
true Godzilla
And it
Toho
does
film.
legitimately feel like a it feels like a Godzilla movie. He's destroying the city. They're sending jets after him. People start flying after him
There's
with
guys in
jet
jetpacks
packs.
for some reason. Why not?
Somebody takes over his consciousness, but we'll get
Yeah,
there.
he shoots himself as a missile into the conscious of
But
Yonggary, and it's great. It's
But-
good. It's bad.
the thing that makes this not work in the way that even an equally as bad Godzilla movie released the same year, where
Right.
that one works and this one doesn't, is
Horrible
the effects.
CGI garbage.
It's the
Horrible
effects.
CGI
And now
garbage.
there's a
There-
plus
there's-
to the
There is
horrible CGI.
Well, there is some. We should say there is some fun classic Toho style miniatures.
Lots
and
of miniatures.
Classic practical miniature explosions, which is
Right.
fun.
They
and
filmed
makes it
miniatures, and
feel-
it seems like they would like hit it with a popsicle stick or something, and then his tail would be
Right, whatever
CGI'd
they would
over it,
do.
or however they did it.
But also, when looking up trivia for this on IMDb, it said that they filmed or they had a rubber suit for both.
They made
both
rubber
monsters.
suits, but they never
Right.
used them.
They didn't use it. Yeah, which spoiler alert, there's a second monster.
Right. We'll get there.
They
we'll get
hit
there,
the
we'll get
second
there.
monster.
Yeah. So the thing.
The Thing? Ben Grimm?
Right.
Slash
cousin.
John Carpenter movie?
Cousin
What?
from The Bear.
Right, the bear, big hairy gay man. But I digress.
The CGI is really bad. Now, I will say there's a benefit to the CGI being bad because that
It's
makes the
funny.
movie more fun.
It's funny.
Like it makes
made
it
me
funnier.
laugh. I
And
go,
I'm like, wow, this monster looks
right.
horrible.
It looks exactly like the CGI
Scrappy-Doo.
monsters from Scooby-Doo mixed with CGI monsters Scrappy-Doo from Scooby-Doo, the James Gunn movie.
And if you thought that was
2002.
bad, this is worse.
It's worse. It was
Much
4
worse.
years before it, or
Much
2 years.
worse.
I don't know when the Scooby-Doo movie came out.
That's in, I think 2004.
2000. I was thinking 2002.
Go to bed.
4 to 6. It was the 90s. It was a talking dog, man.
I mean, it's a talking dog,
dog.
dude. This came
but
out
yeah.
the same year as Blade.
Yes. Equal level of CGI,
No,
probably.
no,
Probably. I think
no.
for the amount that there was CGI in this to Blade,
Oh,
it
uh-huh.
was equal. I mean, it was a
Maybe-
$30 million difference in budget,
and
but
maybe based on the fact that this was a South Korean production and not a Hollywood production.
right.
I could see that.
Yeah.
The monster
bl-
looks
the-
bad.
Monster is bad, but also the CGI in Blade was rough. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
but
good.
the CGI in this movie is the worst I've ever seen.
It was, but there was also, I think, more CGI in this.
But it's the worst I've ever seen.
I don't think it's the worst you've ever seen.
It's the worst I've ever
can't-
seen in a feature-length film.
Maybe I feel like there's worse. I can't think of it, but there's gotta be worse that I've seen.
I mean, I'm
I've seen
like
some bad
like
stuff.
super low budget, made for TV shark. What was the one we watched?
Shark Aquapocalypse.
Aquapocalypse.
Shark
Of course,
whatever.
though that CGI
Yeah.
was worse. Yes, but this is a real
Right.
movie, or it's at least pretending to
Kinda.
be.
It was intended. It was released as a real movie in South Korea, intended to be released as a feature real theatrical film in America. Didn't achieve that. Was released straight to DVD and on TV.
This
So
is a
kind
fake
of-
movie. It's like
This
two fake
movie
movies
doesn't
wearing a trench
exist.
coat.
It's a talking trench coat.
It's a dog.
Yeah, what up, dog? What up, dog?
It's
And,
a reptar.
Dog. Ripping it real.
No, Grandma, don't eat the kitty.
Bad grandma. Yeah. This
Don't
movie
eat the kid.
sucks. We should have watched Scooby-Doo again.
No, I did enjoy this. Sort of.
It was fun.
I don't know
It was
how we're
fun as
supposed
a
to talk
bad
about this for
movie. It
another
was
half hour.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about the rest of the plot. So the dinosaur wakes up. It gets reanimated by aliens.
Reanimator,
Then
a much better
Jeffrey
movie.
Combs has a no. He doesn't have a mustache in those. He's just got cool glasses.
He's got cool glasses, and then there's a headless doctor who tries to put his
Right.
head
He
on
says,
another.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of reanimating blues."
No, that's
I
not.
think that's what he
That's
says.
not
No,
what
I
he
think
does.
so.
He like
I
takes
think he
his
says that.
severed
And then
head
he
and
says,
sits it
and
between
then,
a
well,
woman's
and then he
legs.
says, well, then he says, "Sharks can't get cancer. My son has cancer, so I turned him into a shark.
Right, I turned my
I
cancer.
reanimated him as a shark."
I turned my
That's the
son
plot of
into
Breaking Bad, isn't it?
I turned my son into a cancer shark.
What if the plot of Breaking Bad was just the plot of Sharkman? And
What if
instead
there
of
was-
cooking meth, Walter White turned himself into a shark?
What if there was like the
That would have been
opposite?
much better, I think.
What if there was like the opposite of Sharkman, where it's just
How?
a scientist who wants to give all sharks cancer?
Interesting.
Instead of turning people with cancer into sharks, he wants to give the sharks cancer.
And he turns his son into
Into
a shark,
cancer.
and then, well, no, he turns his
No,
son
no,
into
no.
a shark. He turns his son into a shark, but then tests the cancer thing on him. And
No, no, no. I
instead
think
of-
he
instead
turns
of
his
it-
son
instead-
into
no, no,
the
no, hold on,
cancer
wait,
disease
hear
and
me
then
out.
feeds his
Hear me
own
out.
son to a shark.
That's a good one, but hear me out. He turns his son into a shark, and he tries to infect him with the cancer thing, but instead of it working, he just creates a shark man that when he bites people, he gives them cancer.
I think the same thing could be done both ways. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
I've heard
Either
it
way.
both ways.
He splits. Yeah, I've heard of both sharks.
He's
He
a
splits his son.
cannibalistic shark
Cancer
who wants to
ballistic
give
shark.
sharks
He goes
cancer.
dun it, dun it, dun 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 dun.
He goes, Grandma Shark, doo 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 doo, Grandma Shark.
Says, "Grandma Shark, don't eat the kitty." Oh, so the Reptar
Oh no,
is-
Reptilian!
so
Don't eat the
Reptar-
people!
Repcard. This shit reptarded, bruh. So he gets teleported.
Can't say
into...
that. You can't
No,
say
it's
that.
okay. I added a P, so it's not.
You got the pass.
So the aliens, they teleport Reptar into the water
Yes.
by what's meant to be Los Angeles, but really it's like Seoul, North Korea.
Yeah,
And then
Los Angeles,
it's
Californication.
Los Angeles, Korea. So then it
South
starts attacking.
Angeles.
It starts attacking, tearing shit up. And
Tarantino.
Then, Quentin Tarantino, and then the
As-
planes attack and they fucking destroy shit, and then they shoot missiles and they shoot it, and it's just destroying shit.
Has
And then at
Hans
some
Chucko
point-
come back yet?
What?
Hans Chucko?
Oh yes, at this point Hans Chuckgill Ford Dinger, he's with him and not British lady. Got,
Who might actually be British lady.
She's
Fun
either
fact.
British pretending to be American or American pretending to be British.
Which,
Either
judging
way,
by
she
how they
sucks.
cast this movie, I think it's
It could
probably
go
the
either
latter.
way. But it could go either way.
Maybe, but the director of this movie didn't speak any English, so I don't think he knew enough
Right.
to know accents. He just knew her accent didn't sound like the one in the American
Right.
movies he'd been watching.
Either way, Chuck McFord and this British non-lady,
Chuck Solo.
Chuck Solo, they had gotten captured by American government and were working with them, and at some point we reintroduce maybe Buster Bluth, Brosnan, the architect.
Which might as well at this point be its own character, so it really doesn't matter if they're the same.
Who cares? Yeah, he's some nerdy guy, and he's working for the Space Force, which is like a 5th level of fucking whatever U.S. government nerd
Yeah,
shit. Who
it's
cares?
above the military?
It's above the president, maybe, because he was like, "I take my orders
Maybe.
from the president." I don't know.
I take my orders from the president. We'll get
I
there. We'll get
take,
there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
yeah, you can't leave. I take my orders from the president.
Get him
Get
out of
him out of
here.
here. But
We'll
yeah,
get
so
there.
it
We'll get there. We'll
introduces
get there.
this
We'll get
guy,
there. We'll
and
get there.
they're all with two Steve Martins in the U.S. government cave. There's the guy with Steve Martin's hair and the guy with Steve Martin's face. Two Steve Martins. They made a second one. But then, yeah, Reptar is
Steve
tearing
Martin?
shit up. Is that? That's the
Martin
that's the-
Sheen is
that's
who
a
I
different
said.
guy. Is it?
I said the
'Cause you-
general.
Maybe it's who you meant.
The
but you
one
said
general
Steve
looked like Martin Sheen. The other one did look like Steve Martin.
That maybe is what you thought, but it's not what you said.
Maybe you heard
I don't think so.
what you wanted.
I definitely heard.
Maybe you
Steve,
were looking at the
'cause I
one
thought-
general when I said Martin
I
Sheen.
think what you said is Steve Martin, because I remember thinking in my head Steve Madden.
But then I
like
started
from,
talking about
the
Uncle
DiCaprio
Ben, and you
movie.
were laughing at the joke,
Right.
which was a Martin Sheen reference, because Martin Sheen
I didn't get that.
played
I just
Uncle
thought.
Ben.
I just thought it was because I said Captain Parker at some point.
Right, so I made a Ben
But Martin
Parker
Sheen
reference.
did play. Yeah, but that wasn't the Uncle Ben I referenced. I referenced the Uncle Ben that goes Peter and sounds like Joe from Family Guy.
Yeah, I thought you were just doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, Peter.
But
this
this is
episode's all
incomprehensible.
over
This
the
is
place.
the worst episode of this podcast we've ever made.
Oh, that's the best.
To get us
so
to get
yeah.
us back, to get us back.
So there's
and we're back.
two Martins, Steve Martin and Martin Sheen.
Right. Martin Sheen
Like
is
the
the
Netflix
general.
special. And Steve Martin is the lieutenant commander.
He's
some
yeah.
other guy.
He comes in from another branch of the military, I think.
No, I think you're thinking of Buster Bluth Brosnan.
No, Buster Bluth
was
Brosnan
Space
is from
Force.
like a fake branch of the military that
he
nobody
was
knows
the
about.
Space Force. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Steve Martin is like Navy, and then Martin Sheen
maybe
is
he was
Army.
like the Air Force or something.
Yeah, because
Those
they're
little
wearing different
planes.
uniforms.
Yeah.
There's jetpacks.
Either-
What
either way,
branch of the
there's
military
jetpacks.
do
Maybe
jetpacks
that's
fall under?
Maybe that's the Space Force.
Maybe
Can you
that would
fly
explain
in
why we've never
jetpacks
seen them.
Can you fly in jetpacks in space with jetpacks?
Probably.
Who knows? Maybe. What
As long
about
as you're
your
wearing a
face
spacesuit.
and air? Well, yeah, but they weren't. They were just.
Well, yeah, because they weren't
guys.
in space.
Why? Yeah. Anyways, there's jetpacks. This movie sucks.
So Buster Bluth is trying to leave the lab. And because he's really upset that they won't kill Godzilla. Oh, somebody with a jetpack. The aliens. We gotta say this. The aliens are
Yes.
trying to teleport Reptilian
they're trying to
Yonggary
teleport
off the
Reptar
planet.
Yonggary, and
And a
one
man
guy-
with a jetpack flies into his forehead.
Yeah, well, so the guys with jetpacks have miniguns that also are maybe rocket launchers.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the guy. The one guy's like, I don't want to do this mission anymore, Captain, sir. And he's-
Oh yeah, he just,
and then he goes,
one guy just well, the guy gave a terrible speech.
It's the
he was
worst
Like, he was like, yeah,
military
if you're not
speech.
willing to die, you suck. Fuck you. We're gonna fight this giant reptilian monster.
And it's like
maybe
the
he's also
music
named
is in the
Yonggary.
background. The music is in the background, like it's Independence Day, which
But
is
it's
the greatest
it's
speech
no
of all
it's
time.
no Independence Day.
And then
speech.
and it's like the music is swelling, and he goes, "Soldiers, we are here today."
we are
to
here
fight-
to fight, and if you don't fight, you will die.
Right, and that's it.
And
Like
then
that's,
that's
all he
it. That's it.
says.
Just
And then the one guy's like,
and one
"Sir,
guy's
I would
like,
like to leave,
like,
sir."
Sir, I would not like to fight.
And then he stands up
And then he just
says-
leaves, I guess.
He says, "Who's gonna take over his machine gun?" And this guy goes, "I would
Right,
like
some
to,
other
sir."
guy's like, I will do it, sir. I
Right.
volunteer.
And then the general says, "Well, you have no qualifications to run this thing." And the guy basically goes, "Yeah,
like,
but I would
"I'm
really
all
like
gas,
to do it. I would
like,
really like to,
He's
sir."
He's like, okay, sir. Okay, if you insist.
So
yeah.
stupid. He took no.
So then, yeah.
convincing.
So I guess that guy just leaves. Another guy replaces him. But
Other
then,
guy is I'm almost positive is the
is
man
that the
who
guy
flies
who
into the forehead of
sacrifices himself?
Godzilla. yes.
Probably, yeah.
And then
So,
the
yeah,
general's
this
the one on the
guy-
ground. And it makes
Right,
it seem
yeah,
like they were
yeah.
friends the whole time.
Maybe, or it was just like, oh, like I let him do this, whatever. But so yeah, at some point, the jetpack guys with miniguns and maybe rocket launchers, they're One of them is shooting at Godzilla. He's like the last of the jetpack
Yonggary.
squadron left. Yonggary, Reptilian,
Younggilla?
Tartarian.
Younggilla. No, yeah. See, they're shooting
Yeah.
at him. They're fighting.
Gojira. They're shooting, fighting. Um, then he's like the last one left, and he runs out of his minigun and throws it, and he's like, "I know what I have to do," and he just flies into him.
Flies into his forehead.
His forehead as they're teleporting him away, and it cancels out the teleportation, and I guess
And we think
his
we
consciousness.
think, and by we I mean
Well,
I.
you said this as a joke. You were like, "Oh my God, is his consciousness gonna take over Godzilla reptilian monster?" I was like,
Gary.
"That's young Gary." Sorry,
Which this is
not
the
to be
point.
confused. Not to be confused with old Gary.
Well, this is the point when they
Not
start
to be
calling
confused with
him
old
Young
Greg.
Gary. They start
I
calling
feel
him
like that
Young
was, like-
Gary here.
That was like when the movie was over. I feel like that was like
No, I remember the first mention of it
maybe
was
I just didn't pick
immediately
up on it.
after he flew into his head.
Either way,
Because I
digress.
thought they were saying Gary, which is what led me to
Right,
believe that
okay,
his
that's
consciousness
why-
was taking
That's
over.
that's why I thought that the guy's name was Gary, because you said that,
I
but
said
I didn't
it
pick up.
twice.
I didn't pick up on what you were referencing in saying
Right.
that.
And I was referencing
Gotcha.
Young Gary, not to be confused
Okay.
with Young Gravy.
Not to be confused with old Greg. I'm old Greg. You ever drink Bailey's out of a shoe? Remember old Greg?
Not to
I
be
remember.
confused with just Greg.
Right. But yeah, so his consciousness, I
His
guess,
consciousness,
takes
we
over.
think, is in the monster.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, you said that as a joke, but then it seemed like they were referencing that as
One of two things
legitimate
happens.
thing.
Either his consciousness did take over this monster, or this monster, for absolutely no reason, turned
Just
into a
was
good guy.
Yeah, which I mean, classic Godzilla, I guess.
Yeah, but Godzilla, I feel like,
Kinda.
still has a reason.
Does he?
It's normally like, oh, another monster's here. I'm gonna fight this other monster instead of destroying
Right, I guess
Tokyo.
he did kind of turn good before. It was admittedly right before this other monster comes in, but it was before.
It was still before.
Yeah. So yeah, immediately after this,
And well,
the
and when he
aliens shoot
begins
in
to
another
turn
monster.
good, the aliens are like, "Oh, we've got to show.
Oh,
we
was
gotta,
that was the reason they were
Right,
like, "Oh,
we've
he's
gotta-
turning good. We
we've
need
got to
another
send
monster."
a villain for young Gary to fight."
Right.
And so they send in a crab. crab
crab
creature?
Godzilla dragon-looking monster.
He had a
whatever.
name, but I don't know what it was.
Did he?
It was like Old Gary.
Oh, right.
It was Young
So, yeah,
Gravy.
this is the old Gary. This was old Greg.
This was Young Gravy, and he's gonna make
Right, this is Old Gravy.
advances on Young Gary's mother.
This is old gravy. He's like gravy that's like real old, and it's like a little like fermented and rotten, and it's pretty gross and stinky. And
You
it's,
probably
like,
shouldn't
smelly.
eat it. Probably shouldn't
And
put
so,
that one on
like-
a biscuit.
Right, so he like chops like his arms off, and then he grows like weird tentacles, and then he chops his
Right.
heads off, and he grows weird tentacles. And
Lots
then
of tentacles coming out of
a lot of
old Gary?
weird like they look like tapeworms almost.
Yeah,
like they're
little like
very
long
strange.
cylindrical tapeworms.
A worm. Yeah. So
That's
they're
twice
they're
tonight
fucked
we've
up
said that,
looking.
which is strange.
More than twice, I think, but a worm.
A worm? Just one?
Well, it was a couple, and there were
Right.
also
I think
tentacles
8
and also
total.
penises. Probably, yeah, because it was like 4 per
Yeah.
cut off limb, and it was an arm and a head that were
Right, which is not a limb.
head. Isn't it?
A head's not
It's an
a limb.
appendage, at least. No, it's an appendage though.
I think appendages is just your arms and legs.
I feel like your head is one too.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Maybe your neck
Well, but your head is attached to your neck
is
until it isn't, at least.
appendage. In technical
Appendix is
use,
something
appendage means limbs. Antenna, genitalia, but never the head.
Oh,
So,
what do you know? Learn something new every day.
is there
So,
a
yeah,
word that means
reptile-
arms, legs, and head?
Reptile farts. He fights. in-
Extremities.
Extremities. Yes, an
Extremities.
extremity.
Yeah,
it's for sure.
when
an
he loses an
extremity.
extremity, he gets
loses
long.
an extremity. He grows 4 tentacles.
Right.
It's like the Hydra from Herculean myth. Um,
Right.
but
Cut off
yeah,
one
so
head. 4 more will take its place.
that's how it goes. Yeah. So yeah, then for if you cut off one head, 4 weird penis tapeworm tentacles will take its
Could
place.
you imagine if the MCU did that with Hydra? Captain
uh,
America comes in and shoots Hitler in the head, and then
and
in
there's just like a weird penis tentacle that just grows out of
yeah,
his
but
neck.
it's still got
It
his
just starts
little
like
it's still got
punching.
his little
It's
mustache.
got the mustache and hairdo, but it uses it like as a head and also a fist to like punch Captain America in the face.
And then it's just like
Yeah.
tickling his nose. Just a little
Oh
mustache
yeah.
tickling his nose.
Yeah, and it like
Because
goes up
Steve
his
Rogers is a
asshole.
clean-shaven man. He has no idea what that
Right.
mustache tickles like. You do,
Right, and
though.
no, I know it, and he goes up his asshole and then comes out his nose.
And then
So
and
yeah,
then the mustache tickles his nose.
yeah. Then it's like, well, it's like Hitler's like
He'd be
eyes,
doing this
but
one.
they're like antenna now. They're little eye antenna. Yeah, and you're like, and he'd be like trying to sneeze, but he can't sneeze. Yeah, right. So yeah, Reptiliard fights another monster and fucks it up, and then cuts it off, and then it. How
And
does
then
he actually defeat it? Does he just like
no,
cuts
you don't
off?
remember how he
Oh,
defeats it?
I do remember. Yeah, after he cuts off his head, and then the
And
various
4 more
tentacles.
take its place.
Then he just. So he's
It's
got
awesome.
atomic breath, but it's not really
Right.
atomic breath.
It's just
more
fire
like he
breath,
just.
which is cool.
It's
I'm
just
cool with them doing that.
no, I like the way they do it because it's just like a single fireball. It's not like the atomic breath where it's like a big blast,
Right.
just laser. It's just like one fireball, and they work with that. It's cool.
That's how it sounds.
And then he uses that, shoots it into new old Gary, whatever,
Into the head
crab
hole.
monster, into his head hole
Straight
with
into the head hole.
tentacles. And he just fucking explodes, and that's it. That's
I'd
the
imagine
movie.
the fireball thing is probably a reference to classic Yonggary because he ate gasoline.
Right, yeah.
He was a
'Cause this is
gasolita.
remake. This is a reboot. This is
This is an
prequel?
intro and an entree?
Maybe neither. I don't know.
This is a remake, not a requel.
Maybe, or it's
Told Dracula.
reptard, dude.
Can't say that.
I made it different enough. It's okay.
And that's and then they
Shut up.
they try to fly him away, or
Oh,
they
yeah,
succeed in
they
flying him
do.
away,
They pick him up. They King Kong him. Apparently, that's a King Kong thing.
which is in the new, which I didn't know these still existed. The new, epic rap battles of history,
Yeah.
Godzilla versus King Kong, which just came out.
Right.
As we're
Months ago,
recording
yeah.
this, which is behind when you guys are watching it,
Or
6
no,
hours
yeah, it was
ago,
like a couple hours ago. Yeah.
which is wild. They pull him away, and it's a bunch of helicopters with ropes, and he's just dangling. And then he opens his
Right.
mouth and screams at the
He goes,
camera,
"Rah, rah, rah."
and the camera goes and floats into his mouth on his just rubber tongue.
It's just horrible
Horrible
rubber
CGI rubber
garbage. And then that's the movie and roll credits. Goodbye. Good
They're
night.
rolling right now.
I'm rolling off a bean. I'm rolling off a peen. I'm rolling
Just a
off
bean?
Martin Sheen.
Like a pinto?
Well, you know, a bean in drug slang meaning like Molly, like a Molly bean. But usually like half the time, motherfuckers say they got beans. Usually it's actually bennies, which is actually methamphetamine. It's not Molly. Drastically different effect to if you take Molly.
So you're talking.
I have never had either drug.
You're talking.
I've never done
You're talking
drugs,
about
actually.
like black beans.
I'm talking about black birds singing in the dead of night,
Afternoon delight.
blazing on this sunny
Saddles,
afternoon.
blazing saddles.
Yeah. Nobody
Bing diddling
move.
diddling 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 ding. Bing diddling 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 ding ding.
Watch
Bing,
Reptar on
diddling,
watch
diddling.
Reptilian. Watch
Reptilian,
Reptarded
also
on,
known as Yonggary, also known as
also
Reptile
known as
2001.
Reptile 2001, also known as Reptarded. Watch it on Tubi. This episode made possible by Tubi. Tubi, please
Call
answer
us.
our emails. Give us
Answer
a
my
call.
email. My email
Give me a
is.
text. Give me a text. DM me on Instagram. Like, hit me up, bro. We'll work some shit out, man. Like, we're We're not gonna pay you. You don't have to pay us. Just let us say we're sponsored by you.
Just let's make it official. Let's
Just
do a
make it
trade.
real.
We'll trade for advertising for our podcast. We'll advertise your podcast on the podcast. What?
Yeah, those words, but if they made sense.
And
Hit us
look,
up. Shout
Tubi,
out
we will
Tubi.
exclusively watch your movies from here on out.
We won't actually do that, but we'll do a special like
If there's a partnership, we
sweet.
will exclusively watch Tubi movies.
Yeah,
we can
won't,
make it
but
work.
We'll say
There's some
we'll
good
do
stuff
that,
on
but we
there.
won't
Godzilla
actually.
2014 is
we'll
on
do
there.
that. It is. Yeah, we'll say we'll do that, but we won't actually. But Tubi, you didn't hear that. We'll actually
or
do
not
it.
Tubi.
We'll actually do. That is the Tubi.
Okay, so first question. Does this movie hold up?
Oh no! Fuck no!
I don't think it
But
held up
also-
when it came out.
But also kind of as a concept,
Uh-huh.
maybe.
Yeah?
As
Yeah?
as a Toho.
As an idea. As an
as an
idea,
idea,
this holds up.
as an idea for a Toho Godzilla homage, this kind of holds up. As a film, in terms of quality, it does not. It's garbage. It's nothing.
I'm gonna also say some
But there was an
stupid
idea
stuff. I'm gonna also
bring
say
together
something
a
just
group of-
absolutely dumb.
So goddamn dumb.
Yes, this movie holds up. Only because this movie never existed to the quality of the time in which it was released.
Sure.
This movie was
Maybe.
released in 1999. No movie was supposed to look like this in 1999.
Right.
This movie looks
so
like
what does it hold
Lawnmower
up
Man.
to, then?
It holds up to
Right.
being
It holds
timeless.
up to Lawnmower Man. Yeah.
This movie holds up
Kind
to
of.
timelessness.
Time after time.
This
Time
movie
after
holds up
time.
to perfection.
This movie holds.
Eventually, maybe we'll see another movie that looks and feels as good as this one. But from 1999 on,
but-
we've peaked. This is the greatest movie of all time.
I don't think.
This is the
any of
Yonggary
this-
effect.
Okay.
This is young
Um,
gravy.
Would you recommend this movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think, actually, no, definitely. I would recommend this movie.
I would recommend this movie to anyone who likes Toho Godzilla movies and anyone who likes
Anyone who
bad
doesn't.
movies. Anyone who likes movies, I would recommend this movie. Watch this movie.
We really have been. We've kind
if
of
you
been
like
on a...
if you like the Postal movie, you'd like this movie. Watch the Postal movie instead of this movie.
No,
though.
watch this movie and the
watch
Postal
this movie and the Postal movie. But watch
We've
the
really
Postal
been
movie
on like
first
a...
and third also.
We've been on kind of a streak.
A Mew streak. Bye. Yeah.
We've had
yeah,
a lot
no,
of...
we have very much been on a bad movie streak, and that meaning in a good, way. Good bad movie streak.
So before
not
we
fucking Saturday morning mystery shit.
before we hint
Fuck
at what we're
that.
watching next week,
What are we watching next week?
we'll hint at it in a minute.
Oh, maybe I'll get it. I don't know.
I think I would definitely recommend this movie if you have watched this far. I want you to scroll down on your phone a little bit to the share button, and I want you to hit that, and I want you to text the link to one of your
Go
uncles.
ahead and if you're watching
It doesn't matter
this
what
far,
uncle. It doesn't matter if
do
it's a
that.
cool uncle,
Send
lame
it-
uncle.
send it to
one of your
uncle,
uncles.
uncle
If he's
whatever.
dead, send it to him. If
I
you have
guess.
only one dead uncle, text it to that one.
Send it to your uncle, but also, if you've watched to this point, go right now to Instagram, record a video of you urinating, post it on Instagram, and tag us at Semi Pro Film Show, and you'll get
Also
featured
do
in an
that.
episode.
Yeah.
Do that.
Featured in an episode?
Yeah, I'll pull up. If anyone does that, I'll pull up the video and put it on. Only on YouTube. That's only where we have video.
I mean, I can
episodes. And maybe
actually like
Spotify?
edit it into the.
Would you do that? You'd do that for the piss.
Well, I
bits.
wouldn't actually edit it, but in my live producing, I'd have a clip of.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Either
try it.
way,
Actually, we'll just loop it in the corner of the screen.
that'll just be the. Yeah, that'll be. Yeah, I'll play it. You can play it on your TV in the background of your video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah. Watch Reptilian.
Or don't.
We've got to get better at
You
this.
don't have to. Nah, we're good. It's good. It's good.
So next week, Dan, you want to? Oh, you don't remember what we're?
I don't. Oh no, I do remember. Yeah. We're drinking green milk. Not next week directly,
Right.
but the week
We're,
after
we're
next,
drinking
we'll
green
drink
milk in 3 weeks. Next week,
2 weeks.
we're
A week
we're
or
gonna
2.
watch in a row 2 movies starring elderly Harrison Ford.
We are. Yeah, we're gonna kill Harrison Ford. I think.
And I
I
might
think
just
we
I
finally
might
had
just
enough
go.
of him. I might just go piss. I gotta pee.
Lando Calrissian.
I don't think he's in this one yet.
No, he's
Next
not.
one. He's
But
in
he'll
the
be back.
good one. We'll be back again.
No, Lando's not back until Rise of Skywalker.
I thought he came back in last
No.
last Jedi last week, about a week ago.
All right, we gotta stop. This is running downhill
fuck
without
this.
a paddle.
Good night.
This is ice skating uphill.
Right, which some motherfuckers are always trying to do.
All right, watch Reptilian, or something.
Or
I
don't.
don't care really.
Watch Freddy Got Fingered. Watch the Postal movie.
Freddy Got Fingered.
Watch-
Really, that's where you're going.
Yeah, I got that on DVD.
Go ahead
It's a
and
classic.
watch. Go ahead and watch.
Watch our podcast.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Nope. First Avenger. Force Awakens.
The First Avenger.
Go watch The Force
Watch
Awakens to get ready
Retarded.
for next week. Watch
Fuck
Reptilian in
you.
response to this week.
You're a bitch.
Well, thanks. We'll see you on the next episode of Semi Pro. I guess probably maybe not.
Right here.
There
I
might
love
not
you
be another
guys.
episode. This might be it for us. But if this is really
That's
it for us,
all. Forget